Twice is right.
Okay, since we're at Barnes Noble, I will say instead of the traditional thing we say at Kush, can I get an F yeah?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
All right, I'm gonna get right into it because this is a lot. Who am I? How did I get here? Where am I going? James Otter. My friend Charles Tassel picked me up a little bit ago. The last question is still a mystery to me. Hello, audience. Welcome to a milestone in my life. I have been working very hard. Every day, I've been writing. First thing in the morning and all throughout, I'm working on something. Every Tuesday, for the last 3 years, I've been hosting a poetry night at Kush Cafe, known as Page 2 Poetry.
Yeah.
We're as underground as it gets. You can find us on YouTube if you go looking. I have 2 rules. 1, respect the time limit. 2, don't be a bigot. The rest are merely guidelines. This environment has been a guiding force for me. It gives me a routine. The people are supportive. For once in my life, I have a community where I belong. It's lovely. Before poetry night, I was pursuing film. Failed at that. I recorded music, and of course I tried to write books. Life is about falling down and getting back up.
Amen. All right.
I think I've said enough here. Now it's time to share my work with all of you lovely people. This first poem is very, very personal, so if I say something funny, you know, I didn't mean to. 4 years ago, I was standing on my head in the secure unit within the local psych ward. Well, a charge nurse read me the original manuscript of my first book. In the grip of my madness, I held on to my story. Pages had been torn out, having been handed from patient to patient. My manuscript was my only source of power. The staff took joy reading it. I didn't get to start writing again until 1 week after being released into a group home, so as to adjust into a healthy routine. During this dismal period, I knew what I wanted. Return home and write. I spent 4 months in limbo, attempting to create an alternate reality where a person's best moments become their nightmares. Doing all of this on 2 broken computers while sneakily recording music in my house. Having crossed a mental barrier into a world only I would see. This was what I was living off of. My personal space reduced to 10 by 10 feet in a house full of psychotic lost souls with beautiful auras. In a situation as this one, the choice to give up no longer is in the forefront of my strained neural cortex. When I returned home for the first time, I was an outlaw of sorts, my entry keys hidden in my pockets at all times. When one computer failed and work was lost, I tightened my toolbox and worked from the haunted office that was my fenced-off apartment. Keeping secrets is my greatest necessity. Witnessing the world from the point of view of someone who trimmed the fat with a pair of wire cutters. A maniac with an invisibility cloak. This was me back then. Crying to become well again, ignoring the voices that echoed throughout the pipes, gripping onto what is physically felt, perverting the normalcy of everyday life into a hell world of symbolic monsters. All of this, the result of a New Year's Eve with my reincarnated personal demons. I have plenty of creative friends. At the time, I knew none like myself. My friends played music. They painted pictures. They made movies. Very few of them were writers. Writers. I have always felt off, heading outside into the maw of the cage. Here I am now, a person with a safe place to expel those demons. Not only that, but I run the joint. Never in all of my delusions did I ever predict this. For once in my life, people are listening. And it's not a therapist. It's in a room full of others who have bumps and bruises, people who know pain, who can still see beauty.
Amen.
I've found my home, my true home. I still suffer. Every day's different. I live with many fears, understanding why I am afraid. What difference it makes in the way I interact with my environment, pulling away from me and thinking of it as someone else. This is how I get through the tough times. Pick up a good pint, grab a pack of tasty cigarettes, and wander off into what I have not yet explored, all for a good story. I've haunted myself. It's the greatest blessing. This life I'm living is not going to stop throwing creepy things my direction, and I won't stop searching for more material, more worlds to curse. I've never been more inspired in my life. Will I make it to the end? Will I make it in the end? If I can pull the dream out of my head and put it on paper, that's good enough for me.
All right.
All right. I don't normally read personal poems. Everyone who goes to page 2 knows this. So that's the personal poem you get to hear. Now for the real material. This is called Simulated Anarchy. And I've been practicing. Imagine this. A young group of kids grow up without parents, and it's exactly what they wanted. All runaways, living on the lam, begging for cash, enjoying a nice cold one with all the bad kids. Never had a place in the world. It's perfectly harmonious. Well, it was, until they wanted to belong somewhere. So, these 3 kids, they got bubble gum and baseball caps, ripped up jeans, stained white t-shirts, and Bowie knives. They hunt drunken couples for dinner. And the whole world is like this. No lawmen to make things rough. A small town with a movie theater, drugstore, bar, the typical Midwestern Gothica. So these kids, they grow up homeless. They haven't bathed in years, smell just like nature, you know. Then one day they get invited. A fellow rough around the edges, so to speak, with the appeal of a charming viper, introduces the gang of orphans to his girly pal. They have bottle-cap promise rings. This couple hold each other close. Anarchy A's on the neck of the man. Babylon has crumbled t-shirts. Black and teal love stains. Worn down, factory dirty. Undone, zippered, grimy goodness. The sickening kind of couple. They just can't stop kissing. Spider lines of spittle, always near their pierced lips. This couple wants to have kids. The man has a low sperm count. His fish can barely swim, always needing air, craving the escape. This gal with hair as pink as T-ball chew, eyelashes black as blind vision. Her fertility drugs give her this power. She holds a pulsing force in between her legs. The flare of writhing serpents. It twinkles in the sun, embarrassingly oil spill, pollution's rainbow. Barely covered by army camo short skirt and high-tops boot charisma. This guy has Sunday blues hair, spiked like liberty. It bounces in the wind. His eyes are glazed, a stilt walker's confidence. With a pigeon's shame, an observation, boarded windows and bricked up paths, isolated fire ladders, a runoff of multiple unknown substances. The rats are big in this place, unafraid of what will happen next. The couple, belligerently free, enlightened to the new way. The apathetic, careless anti-patriotism. This trio of juvie losers, young, hungry, fighting for scraps with rodent overlords. Worn down from another defeat, tired, the middle sits. Hairy, disheveled, freckled, red dread facing the pavement. This narrow little city of thieves and hounds. Rarely does anyone care to notice such a small tragedy. It's nothing. Nothing's everything. The kids are too sleepy to fight anymore. They have worse things to do at a later time. Bubblegum, that's all the trouble needs. Maybe a scotch, a little bread, some scrap of meat, nothing to be noticed like themselves. Cobras are attracted to rats of all shapes and sizes. Everyone just needs some relief from the hard-pressed realizations of this life. Everyone deserves a sanctuary from the rain, where anything goes. And this cobra was once a rat, drinking grease from the side of a worn-down frying pan. At the time, this cobra was standing in the fire, so to speak. The people in cities like this live wealthy in the sense of knowing the right people, not in any other sense. With roadblocks and no gas, only bikes. In paradise, all the world is green and free. It rains, and blessed vagrants get to see it happen from the warmth and comforts of a real home, without regulations. Anything goes. The three blind mice deserve a bit of joy from the block. 2. What brings with it sunshine? A mighty hurricane. The thunderous roars of nature erupt every few hours. Geysers of steam introduce themselves to the lucky tourists who survive the first eruption. People take influence from nature. It's why we still fight one another. It's in our blood. Destiny is another question. The lonesome couple, pheromones tainting the air, permeate pity, the lost ones. Kindred spirits of Tom Sawyer, Huck Finn, and old PSAs about starving. The drunk lovers stop, concern in his glazed brow, with nothing but kindness in words, no sinister intentions. His gal pal says, "We used to be just like them." His partner speaks next. Her partner, sorry. His slur in his words. Yeah, so? Stitches rip all too easily when legs are crossed. In the background, a laugh, a gasp, and a giggle. Without speaking, an entire moment of pure embarrassment has occurred. Every imp deserves a change of scenery. Every snake should have a good time. Temptation holds the handle. Too young to sleep so late. A hangover in the dream state. Old Viper drops hands. Flyers from the old shows sunk and torn, all below the marching boots. Young stamps need a mum. Adopted through follow the leader to a home that is more of a shack. Stacked windows for fresh broken glass. A few hundred strong. It's all right to let the kiddos tag along. Embarrassment in tow. Happy pills. Free from machines. Put a cent in a handful of grain for the curried lamb. Now they're all lambs. Even the viper with Lady Freedom's crown heading home to Neverland, where the whole bunch need not grow up. Pick up sticks lest the cold set in. Morning dew drips in through a crack in the fringe. Gum buzzes high on Lilith nights. A Tinkerbell of sorts, snarky without much. A new family moves in down the street. Condoms wave gently on the fence, candles in archways. Heavens upstairs, glazed out with the munchies. The couple held their hands out, raised high. Take the night lights off the wall, the boogeyman wouldn't dare come around. But Boogie does. It picks him whole, receding the flock, for this couple shares 18 blocks with others just the same. Simple people who never knew books. Television was art, no radical influence, a microcosm, petri dish. They became the shows, their birthdays, new seasons, fist to fist, anything goes. Rarely does it go anywhere. A bed for the horses, not these lambs. They need not rest, for they do not miss a thing. It's never silent, not anywhere on earth. Freedom could be a lie. It could be a truth. Nobody cares. The generator doesn't pump on its own. It takes resources, people who are happy. Run, play, dance, sing, high energy. And in this future, there is never enough room for everyone. People leave town. They become the electricity, the wax, the heat. This couple, these kids, the adults. Nobody need know that this is all a game. Otherwise, nobody would be happy anymore. Gotta keep them happy. There you go. All right.
James Otter. So,
before I go, I'm going to tell you this. To everyone that came here, this Tuesday, I'm going to read the sequel piece, which is called The Nightmare Horse.
All right.
Thank you, Charles. Thank you.